with GFam, and today I want to talk to you guys about trailer safety. I believe it's a very important topic for full-time travelers and even the weekend warriors. Today I just want to discuss tips and tricks to help you guys navigate and to be able to foresee any problems and to be able to just have a peace of mind knowing that you're traveling safe with your family in your vehicle and your house behind you. With that being said, let's get into it. So the first thing that I like to do when I am about ready to head out on the road is, obviously I already have the trailer packed and all the necessities ready to go, but what I like to do is something that I learned in a CDL class called Circle for Safety. Now what that means is, before I head out on the road, I want to walk completely around the rig and the trailer, and I just want to inspect very important elements that I'm going to be needing, like brakes, lights, tires, etc. And I just want to look for something that stands out or doesn't look quite right. And what I like to do is not like a chronological order or any importance, because let's face it, all of these topics are important. But I kind of just make like a mental checklist in my head, and I would like to go through with it you guys today. First thing I like to do is check all of the rigging. Now what I mean by that is like the hitch, the ball, the hitch receiver, all of those things, and make sure they're operable and everything is in top shape. Now it's not just enough to make sure that the hitch receiver is locking and latching right, but I hate to say it, it might be very obvious, but since we're talking about the topic, you want to make sure that the ball is the right size to begin with. I know that might be strange, but since we're on the topic, let's just point out all of the factors. So I like to make sure that the ball is the right size, make sure it's the receiver is latching properly. And then on top of that, I like to go a little bit deeper, and what I want to do is check the welding and the hardware of the hitch. Now I have an aftermarket Reese hitch, which means that it is bolted to the chassis of my truck, and then it comes together in an A-frame, and then things are welded to it, the receiver. So I like to go ahead and check those bolts, the welding as well, just to make sure nothing's compromised, where the safety chains latch, things like that, just to make sure that nothing is compromised and that there won't be a failure. Now with rigging, we also like to check the trailer brakes to make sure that that cable is in good shape and that it is working properly. The safety chains, which are a very critical component if your hitch is to fail. And I just like to make sure, like the welding where it's connected to the trailer and the coupler itself is in good shape. I like to just make sure that the chain links themselves are not compromised from maybe being dragged on the road or anything like that. So remember, always double check your rigging before you head out. I know that you put it on and you're thinking, well, I already latched it to the tongue and I put the safety chains on. That may be true, but you never know. You might have been distracted or something during that process and something might not be latched properly. So you always want to double check your rigging. Now I'd like to move on to a topic that I think is very important as well, and that is the tires. Not only the tires on your vehicle, but also the tires on your trailer. I also like to go a little deeper as far as checking my tires. So I like to check the air pressure, I like to check the tread wear, and I also like to check things like if the hub is sitting properly and things aren't compromised, so that way I have even wear. A lot of times I'll check to make sure there's no nails or screws in the tires, so that way we don't have to experience something like a flat. With checking the tread wear, I also like to make sure that every once in a while I'll rotate my tires, so that way I get an even wear on all of those as well, because sometimes the weight isn't distributed perfectly even on your trailer. And so you just kind of want to check for things like that to make sure that you don't experience a blowout, because that is a very scary experience when you're out on the road with your family in the vehicle and your house behind you. The next topic I want to touch on is fluids. Your vehicle fluids are very important for the performance of your vehicle that will be pulling your trailer. I like to check the oil and the transmission are my number one priorities, and the coolant level. Those things will ensure that my vehicle is running in a top shape, so that way I don't have failure when I'm out there on the road. Because let's face it, that is a sticky situation once you have your trailer behind you, because it's not just towing a truck. Now you have to figure out a way to get your house off the road as well. So you just want to take a few minutes and just check the levels of those, make sure that the pressure is good on your oil, and just make sure that you keep up on the maintenance of those fluids as well, because those things are key components to how your vehicle will operate and how it will actually tow in different conditions, whether it's hot climates, cold climates, mountains, or flat grounds. You just always want to make sure that you take good care of your vehicle, because it's very important that you take care of it, because it's pulling your house around. Another important factor to inspect before you travel is your lights. The lights on your vehicle and the lights on your trailer. You want to make sure that your headlights are working, your high beams, your turning signals, your brake lights on both your truck and your rig. So that way, when you hit the brakes, the people behind you can see that your trailer is coming to a stop. Turning signals are just as important as well, because we all know when you're pulling a trailer, you have to hang all your turns pretty wide. And you just want to make sure that people know your next move, because that's what will ensure your safety as well, because then people can predict what it is that you're about to do on the road, and that way you can avoid any accidents or miscommunication. Alright, and the last thing that I like to do before heading out is I like to do what I call a clean sweep through my house, and that is any loose items that aren't 100% secure in your house. You want to just go ahead and collect them and put them in a safe compartment, so that way they're not falling all around when you're traveling and things like that. And we usually have like a certain bin, and we kind of have at this point a good idea of what we know has to be picked up and what doesn't. And so that way, things don't get broke when you come into your house after, a couple hours of traveling and there's things all over the floor. It's just not something you want to experience. So kind of just take a note, and if you can, minimalize the things that you have to break down, so that way you don't have to spend a lot of time going through your house and setting things up and then breaking them down as well. Because let's face it, these things are what makes your trailer feel like home, and you want to take care of those things as well and make sure that they don't get busted up in the process as well. Also, another thing that I think is important is making sure that your air vents are rolled in, so that the way they're not open and maybe they get caught on something or the wind snatched them off. You want to make sure your windows are all closed, your doors are latched and locked. I also think it's very important to turn off your water. Now I know this sounds silly, but turn your water pump off and drain the lines, because nothing's worse than when you come to boondock and your water pump's been on and your water's been running, and now your gray tank is full and you don't have any water to boondock, or potentially that water can end up all over your house. It's not a good situation. You also want to make sure things that are electronic are not being ran, so that way you don't drain your battery. And by that I mean your air conditioner, your radio, etc. Turn all of those things off, so that way you have a peace of mind knowing when you're traveling down the road that there's no way that something could go wrong because you've cut off the source of the water, because there's no water pump running. There can't be air conditioning running because you've turned it off. So these things will ensure that you'll be able to enjoy the luxuries once you get where you're going, and just be able to enjoy your vacation and or your next stay. Alright guys, well I believe that does it for this video. I hope that these tips give you a peace of mind and a sense of security when you are ready to head out on the road, so that way you can enjoy the experience and not have to worry about anything coming unexpected. If you like videos like this, give it a big thumbs up. Be sure to go to our channel and subscribe for more videos like this. And until next time guys, take care.